What are your favorite ways to learn about real estate?
My favorite way to learn about real estate. Living here in Indianapolis, it's a very dynamic market. And I think the best way to learn about real estate is simply by driving around in different communities. You'll notice different architectural styles. You'll see different type of amenities, grocery stores, schools. You'll really get a sense for an area. You'll also understand just how some things kind of trend based on the age of a neighborhood. So I think that if you just drive around, you'll get a really good sense of what's going on with real estate. The second thing that I love to do to partner with driving around is there's an app that you can download on your phone. It's called Home Snap. And what that does is it puts into your hand information about the local market. So as you're driving around, the app just knows where you are, and it'll show you all the homes in an area. And the homes that are, that are not for sale, there'll be like a little red dot, but you can click on it. You can get information about the number of bedrooms, price and value. And then it will also show you the homes in an area that are for sale and also where open houses are. So by driving around in an area that you're interested in and having the app on your phone called Home Snap, it's just a really great way for someone who's looking to buy or invest in real estate, get a sense of what's going on, what's available, and what the markets look like in particular areas.
What are my favorite ways to learn about real estate? So I would say for me, my favorite ways are to be out in the field, talking to people that are also in the field. So that could be, your construction, your contractors. It could also be attorneys, just building networks. And so for me, it's more of a hands-on process.
Favorite ways to learn about real estate. So I look at learning probably different than most people, but my favorite way to learn is to make a mistake, to be honest. Mistakes are my biggest learning experiences, and you're going to have them no matter what field you go into, especially with real estate. So making mistakes is a big thing for me. I mean, I embrace mistakes, and that's the best way to learn, to be honest, for me. Favorite ways to learn about real estate, we'll say, I'll say making mistakes and just staying connected with, different groups. There's a lot of things going on social media right now where there's a lot of information just being thrown out there, but you just have to find out what your goals are and just kind of piece it together as you go. You have to take the action steps to get there. And that's the best way to learn, is to just dive in there and do it. You can get on as many webinars as you want, pay for as many courses as you want, but if you don't do the work, you're never really going to learn. That makes sense. Real estate is a forever learning field. Like, you're never going to learn everything that real estate has to offer, because for one, it's always changing. And there's just a lot of different avenues of real estate to learn about. So you just have to kind of dive in, see, get a feel for what you're interested for and do it. Just go do it.
Favorite ways to learn about real estate is pretty much going to people that been on the game. So people who've been in the game, my mentors, people who have been doing this for a long time. I'm also an internet surfer. So I go to Google for just about anything. Of course, just for, second opinions, different things like that. But my number one way to really tap into real estate and learn new things are being able to get the information from people, from OGs who's been in the game. Feel like the majority of our answers that we are looking for, not just in real estate but anything else, are in people and in books. You know what I'm saying? So of course we've learned somewhere throughout our life, somewhere. If it's not through experience, it's through education and knowledge, through books and literature, like Mia said, for sure.
Who are all a part of the real estate process from buy to sell?
So who are the parts of the buying and selling cycle with real estate? So in real estate, there's a lot of moving parts. So just yesterday, I closed a deal with a gentleman who had a house for sale in Brownsburg. And when we started that process with me as his listing agent, we had to get people involved. So I had to sign the contract with him, making me his realtor. And then we also, before we put the home into the system, I had to get some contractors to come through the house just to look at some things. We also had to have professional pictures done at my expense so that I could adequately showcase his home. Then we loaded it into the MyBore system, meaning that the house is available for sale. As we went through that process, I'm interacting with other agents and doing open houses so people can see what the house has to offer. Now that we're under contract, as we continue this 30-day process to finally sell the house and transfer ownership, there will be lenders who will be involved because the lady who's buying the house, she has to have a mortgage. So her lender is involved, her agent is involved. During the home buying process, there's also an appraiser that comes into the picture. They're responsible for assessing the home's value, and that determines the maximum amount your mortgage can be. And then we also do a home inspection. And then this is an opportunity for an independent auditor to come through the home and tell the buyer what's great about the house, what structures, what items need to be fixed immediately, and what type of things they need to keep an eye on. Once we get through the appraisal and the inspection process, that's when we get this clear to close. So what happens then is we continue to work with the lender to get the underwriting done. And 3 to 5 days before our closing date, that's when everything's done. The loan is prepared, we're reviewing the closing statement, and you finally have that green light, you're feeling really good, and you know that you're heading to closing. During this process, there is the title services or a title agency that is responsible for making sure that the deed or the right to the property transfers from the seller to the buyer. So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces in the home buying process. That's why you need a great realtor.
Who all is a part of the real estate process from buy to sell? I would say it varies, but for the most part, you're going to have a real estate agent. You're going to have a title and escrow company, maybe an attorney. You may also have a contractor, depending on whether your property needs some work. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that one.
Who is all a part of the real estate process from buying to selling? When you start the process, you have your realtor. And in the beginning stages, you're working with a lender. You also get a title company involved. You work with appraisers, inspectors, contractors, buyers and sellers. Those are the people involved in the real estate process, buying and selling.
So, of course, you need your buyer. So the person who is interested in buying, you need your client, a solid realtor. You need your loan officer who you can go to the bank and, of course, get you pre-approved. You need your loan originator who, of course, is going to send your paperwork through so you can get clear to close. You need, of course, a seller so you can buy, so your buyer can, have something to buy. And then you just need a bomb realtor and anybody to be able to help along the way, including contractors, your inspectors, your appraisers, anything like that. So not too much. It may sound like a lot, but it's not. It's a team effort. You may pop in with a real estate lawyer here and there if that's needed, if that's necessary. But as long as you got your good realtor, you got somebody who could fund you that money and a good house to buy, you good. Whether it's for sale or not, anything's for sale when it got a good price on it, for sure.
Wholesale, renting, or flipping? Which one's the best right now?
So wholesale, flipping, renting, buying, what is best? So I own a home here in Fishers and I really love it. It backs up to water and it's a place where I've raised my daughter. And so when I think about the real estate market, my eyes are really as an investor. I'm looking to add a property to my portfolio, something that I could invest in and make some money. So right now I I think what is best for me as a potential investor is to find a property that's maybe between $30,000 and $50,000 that I could add another $20,000 to and put it on the market. I'm looking at a condo right now as a long-term rental. I know that it's valued right now at about $45,000, and if I put some money into it, I couldn't really flip it and make money. But if I put $20,000 into it, and I'm sitting in about like a $60,000 investment, if I'm able to rent it out for about $1,000 a month, I'll recoup my investment in about 6 to 7 years. And then as I get closer to retirement, I would just have this long-term rental. The thing with rentals is that, even though you do have somebody living there, everything that you make is not necessarily profit, because you do need to set aside some money in case you need to replace anything, because you're essentially a landlord. So, that's part of it. It's like, yeah, I might have $12,000 a year coming in from my rental, but I need to set aside probably about 30% every year for any type of updates, repairs, and things of that nature. So I think that would be really good for me. For people who have skills in rehabbing, construction, those are the kinds of people who where flipping makes a lot more sense. Flipping, it's where you buy a house and you buy it at a lower price, knowing that you can go in, renovate, repair, rehab, and then sell it at a higher price. And, sometimes the market for flipping, you're going to see an increase of, it's a $50,000 return on investment, $100,000. But the thing about flipping is sometimes if you don't choose the right house, you can definitely get over your head in repairs and it can become a money pit. So flipping is something that if I were to get into flipping, I would want to have a team of professionals working with me to help me understand initially, is this something that we can rehab and renovate, or is this going to need major repairs? If you choose a house that needs a roof, that needs mold remediation, that's got major structural issues, foundation issues, your investment's going to be so great that it's going to shrink your margin. But if you can find a place that needs, granite countertops, gray paint, white trim, some new doors, new carpet, new floors, some pretty landscaping, those are the kind of places that you want to flip. And you also want to look at the local market, what's going on around those homes, to make sure that you're not trying to flip and make $100,000 in a neighborhood that's not going to support that. I had some clients from out of town come, and I showed them some renovated houses that were $100,000 more than the surrounding homes. And it's like, for this investment, I don't want to live in this neighborhood. So there's a lot that goes into flipping homes, and you definitely need to do a thorough market analysis before you get into that type of investment.
Wholesaling, renting, or flipping, which is best right now? I would say, in my opinion, and in this order, it's going to be wholesaling, renting, and then flipping. Just because of what the market is doing right now. Wholesaling is kind of a technique that you can use. The market's up, the market's down. It doesn't vary a whole lot. Whereas flipping right now, I would say probably, depending on the area, a lot of people are not actively flipping, and then renting. It varies, but I would say that would probably be the second best.
Wholesale, renting, or flipping. I look at those three different strategies like, okay, wholesale is a quick check. Okay. Flipping can be a big check. And renting is that forever check. When you rent out properties, you're buying and holding usually for a very long period of time. And that's my preferred way to invest. But like I said, wholesale, I just had a friend who wholesaled a deal and got a $19,000 assignment fee for his his part in the wholesale deal as a wholesaler. So there's definitely room for deals in each one of those sectors of real estate. So I can't say which is best, but that kind of explains them in a nutshell.
Ooh, I mean, you can't lose with real estate. So if any way that you can tap in to do what you best at, what you know best in. Me personally, I am, wanting to tap into flipping. I am a landlord, I'm a homeowner, of course, but real estate flipping, as long as you can find that funding, because people think that you have to, have the millions of dollars to flip a home, to purchase a home. Honestly, all you need is some good credit. All you need is some good, solid credit, and you'd be surprised where you'll find some funds at. It's just tapping into the right resources. So in my opinion, I know there's plenty of ways to, make it in real estate. You got your wholesalers, you have your flippers, you have your landlords. But in my opinion, the best way right now, I would say, would be flipping. It's the most luxurious, I would say. I mean, of course, it's still, it's stressful, and anything can be if you make it. But if you have a solid team, if you have your contractors, if you have your funders locked in, you know what you're doing, you can go to your mentors, you can go to your bosses and your friends to get advice. I would say flipping right now would be luxurious for sure. But it's a perfect time to own a home as well. Dream home. Of course, the rates are super low right now with the banks. So it's perfect just to do anything right now in real estate, really.
What are the best locations to buy real estate? East, west, north, or south?
The best location to buy. A lot depends on what you're looking for. When I moved here 13 years ago, my daughter was 5 years old, and I needed a place that had great schools, sidewalks, a pleasant neighborhood. And I also moved here while I was going through my divorce, and I knew that I needed to be someplace safe. Sometimes I forget to lock the door. Sometimes, I would wake up and the garage door was still open. So, there's a lot that goes into the best place to live. So based on my personality and my characteristics, I chose to live in Fishers because that was the best place for me and my daughter. So now, I'm an empty nester. My daughter's a sophomore at IU. I could see myself living in a really nice condo someplace that's got a wonderful water view. I no longer need the yard. I no longer, need to be in a great school district. So the best place to live really depends on where you are in your life. I have a number of clients who are young families, and I need to get them into Fishers. I need to get them into Lawrence so that they can be where the really good schools are. I have clients that are older that want to sell their house because now that they're older, their knees and their backs don't support them going up and down stairs. So for those clients, we're looking for homes with a main floor master bedroom, homes that are ranches, there's no stairs, also things that are no maintenance, that have like no yards, or the yards are maintained by the community association. So, the best location really depends on what you need. And even here in Indianapolis, we're blessed with the work that they've done downtown to give it a more urban feel. We have a number of condos and apartments downtown that cater to people who want to have that urban experience. So the best place really depends on where you are in life.
What are the best areas to buy in? East, west, north, and south? That's going to depend on where you are. So my team, we work out of Indianapolis as well as Atlanta. So in the Indy area, we tend to stay on the definitely in the metro, within the 465 area, but I would probably say north, northwest, and northeast. And in regards to the Atlanta, it varies, but within the perimeter as well. And I would probably say the closer to in town. So that would also consist of northeast, northwest, also some central areas. We try to steer clear of the south side.
The best locations for investing in real estate really depends on the city and location that you're in. I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and the investment market is really hot. I know a lot of foreign investors that invest in this city, but it's not a matter of north, south, east, or west. The price of our market is just really attractive to investors because our price of living is not that of California or Texas or something like that. So the whole Indianapolis market, in my mind, is a gold mine for investments, period. Just because you can find a good deal on the north side, you can find a good deal on the south side, you can find a good deal in Anderson, which is about 30 minutes away. So it's not a matter of north, south, east, and west. This Indianapolis market is attractive because of the prices and, returns that you can get. But there's not a best side, in my opinion.
Well, of course, location is everything. Location. And particularly it is, best to kind of start with what you're familiar with. It is different between city to city. In my area, I'm located, of course, I'm right now in Anderson, Indiana, which is not far from Indianapolis. But right now it really is the east side. It's a little bit more out the urban areas, I hate to say. But any place where, it seems to be a lot less traffic in that sense. But of course, anywhere, people are going to be able to live anywhere. So anywhere is a good place as long as the numbers are crunched good. You can be able to make your money anywhere. But I would say here, it's just outside of the urban areas. I hate saying that, but it's the facts. Houses are selling everywhere. Again, people are so afraid to tap into, certain locations and certain neighborhoods. But if it's not a home, that you're willing to live in, or you want to actually live in, put your family in, of course you can always buy to rent it out. Because HUD take houses everywhere. so I mean, not to say that to throw off a neighborhood, like one neighborhood's better than the next, because it's not. Just, I mean, the fact is that some neighborhoods hold more values than others. So in this town, of course, people try to stay out of, the urban areas, of course. But even though houses sell everywhere, it's just whatever you want to do with it. If you want to be an investor, buy a home in the middle of, the hood. You know what I'm saying? But because people are going to live there too. You know what I mean? But it's depending on what market you're trying to serve, what you're trying to get out of it. I know a lot of people, who will just buy homes in neighborhoods, in the urban neighborhoods, because, it's not as much, it don't cost as much. They know that, they can get people in the homes if they're just going to be HUD, HUD invested or any way like that. So don't take it wrong when I say, it's just location. And that's down to the business. You know what I'm saying? That's just business. You know what I mean? So for sure. I just don't want nobody to think, there ain't no value in the neighborhood, because it's plenty of value. It's plenty, but just for business purposes, people aren't trying to, stay where the chicken shop is right across the street. You know what I'm saying? People aren't, and depending on who you're serving too, because I know some people who you can't even move out the hood, even if you paid them, and if they own or not, they still live there. That's why it's important to tap into whether you're trying to own to rent, to invest, or however that works for you. I mean, I'm actually in the process of trying to buy a home right in the hood. So I can, and there's more, it's more into that. I find value in the land and where it sits at versus the home in general. Because my family kind of has some stuff invested over there. So it's more just, where it's located. It's more the value of the land to me personally, outside of a dollar.